Good evening, everybody. We're glad that you're here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment. We are excited tonight to have two UCR pre-health students talk about their experience with the Summer Health Professions Education Program. This is a really great program that's offered to students across the country. And we have two UCR students who took advantage of this program during this past summer, the summer of 2023. And so I'm excited to introduce you to Sadaf and Manuel, and we'll get started in just a moment. We know folks are coming from class and it's very inclement weather. It's rainy outside, so a lot of you might be coming home from traffic or making soup on a rainy evening. So we'll just give you another minute or so, and then we'll let our guest get started. We are recording tonight's session, so hopefully that does not discourage you from asking questions, but this allows us to be able to share this session with our students who are in class or are still commuting. So thanks for being a part of this session this evening. And again, we'll get started in just a moment.
I think we can get started now. So, okay, hello everyone. I'm glad to be here with you all. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days. I know the weather is it's raining a lot. I'm sure like a lot of people have gone through like a lot of traffic. I do go through a lot of traffic myself. But without further ado, I want to take a moment to thank Charlie one more time for allowing for him and HPAC giving us the platform to do this presentation. I'm really glad for him to allow this for us. And I do want to mention once again is that this presentation is set for an hour long, but we might end up a little early. But if you do end up finishing a little earlier, we will leave the remaining time for Q&A. I do want to advise, like, if anyone needs to leave for any reason, just know that the session is recorded, and you can always reach out to either me, Sadaf, or Charlie, and we'd be happy to reach out with any follow-up questions or concerns. So without further ado, we're here to present the Summer Health Professions Education Program, Shaping Careers and Changing Lives. And on to the next slide, please. And we just want to share a little bit about us. So my name again is Manuel Cruz. I'm a fourth year here at UC Riverside. My major is biology, and the site that I attended was at Western University of Health Sciences, which is usually referred to as Western U. And I did it in the summer of 2022. I was part of the medical track, and right now my current aspiration is to become an emergency medicine physician. And I'll let Sadaf introduce herself.
So hello everyone, so happy to be here. So my name is Sadaf Sadighian. I'm a third year UCR undergraduate. I just transferred to UCR from a community college, and I've been majoring in biology, and the site I attended was UCLA and Charles Drew University, and I did it almost about like 2022. And my track was dentistry, and my aspiration right now is to become a dermatologist. So I will just talk about how I changed my pathway and everything throughout the meeting we're gonna have. And yeah, so we're gonna go on to the next slide, and I'm gonna pass it to Manuel.
Thank you, Sadaf. So let's begin. So SHPEP, which stands for Summer Health Professions Education Program, which is a completely free 6-week summer enricher program for incoming college freshmen and sophomore students, and even graduate high school seniors who are interested in the health professions. The program is committed to strengthening the career development of underrepresented students, which could include factors of race and socioeconomic status, while preparing them for a successful career in the health professions. So this opportunity helps with understanding health-related careers or a certain field of health, if it is the right path for you or not. And so the SHPEP scholars have a legacy of success, and over 65% of scholars who apply to medical or dental school are accepted. So this is really great, as health professional schools are super competitive considering admission rates are low. So this is a great opportunity to get your foot in the door and explore these prestigious institutions and build yourself as a great student and also as a promising candidate. Next slide.
Sorry. Okay. So thanks, Manuel, for sharing that. So just to continue on, so what is SHPEP and how it kind of started? So if I just want to like give you all an overview, so this is a program that has been going on for a long time now. It actually got started around 1987 and 1989, if I want to be exact. So, and due to it was like kind of started because of the decline of medical school applicants from racial and ethnic backgrounds starting in 1977. And the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation initiated the study in about like 1984 to learn about strategies to change the trend. So, because it was more likely not to see people from underadvantaged community in medical school. And that was kind of, I'm sorry, I think my lights just got off, but it was kind of unfortunate to see that people from different backgrounds were at the universities. So that was kind of the initiate of the research. And after that, after that, about 2023, they kind of started the summer medical educational program. So they changed it and they started to invite medical tracks and other people to come to the medical educational program. And after that, they kind of add the dental education at 2006, and around 2016, they kind of formed the SHPEP. So they kind of contribute all of the pre-health tracks, and in addition of like dental, nursing, medicine, and all these things. So it was really nice to see that they all like came together and were able to provide this summer health educational program for all the pre-health students.
Thank you, Sadaf, for sharing about the history. And yeah, SHPEP does go a while back, and it's great how the program continues to grow and flourish. But anyway, the health field breaks into many categories. It's not just medicine and dentistry, but there's also nursing, optometry, pharmacy, physician assistant, physical therapy, and even public health. And all of them are equally important. And so I love how SHPEP offers a diverse set of tracks in the health professions. I will say right now that every site varies in what tracks they offer. So I can speak on my behalf. Once again, I did participate in the Western University of Health Sciences site, which is in Pomona, California. And the tracks they offered were medicine, dentistry, optometry, and physical therapy. So unfortunately, they didn't provide dentistry or public health or any of the other ones I didn't mention. And I believe the UCLA site, which is the one Sadaf participated in, they only offered 3, which is nursing, dentistry, and medicine. But I'm certain that every site offers medicine and dentistry, since those are the 2 most popular ones. So I really highly recommend going to the SHPEP website and checking out all the sites offered across the United States and see what they're available, because they do vary, especially if you're interested in something else other than medicine and dentistry.
Yeah,
Next.
definitely. I definitely agree with Noel. You definitely don't want to just think that you want to go to medicine, so you have to definitely apply for medicine. That was one of the things I wasn't sure about, so I didn't know if I'm really interested in dentistry or medicine. So I wanted to give myself a chance to explore dentistry, and I saw SHPEP as a really great opportunity to help me explore and learn more about dentistry. So that was one part that helped me to grow as a person and get to know myself and my path better. And as Manuel said, there are so many program sites that you want to take a look and see what they kind of provide to you and what they offer. So there's Columbia University, Howard University, and I know Manuel did Western, and I personally did the UCLA and Charles Drew University. But if you're also thinking of something outside of California, you can also apply for, like, let's say Florida and everything. So they have a lot of sites that you can apply. So you really want to navigate these resources and see which universities you want to actually go into and explore, and what are your top 3s, because you can apply for 3 program sites when you're filling out your application. And you can also prioritize the one that you really want to go. So that's one thing. And you can also choose your track. So definitely utilize your resources, really cross out like the universities that you don't want to like go into and what are the ones that you really want to go. So definitely by utilizing these program sites, you can kind of apply and get your chance of getting in even higher.
Thank you, Sadaf, for sharing that. So I will be talking about the benefits of the free program. So I may sound a little biased, but I'm not just saying this because I'm ambassador, but if you look and compare most other programs and internships, SHPEP is definitely at the top of the list. So to start off, as I already mentioned, one of the biggest reasons is that it is completely free. It is both free to apply and free to participate in. They cover for your housing for the entire duration. Again, it is 6 weeks over the summer, and they also give you a stipend. At the time that me and Sadaf did it, the stipend was around $800, and they recently raised it to $1,000, which is really great. And they also reimburse you for your travel expenses, which can include car mileage or airfare when you depart and return. So for example, if you're going from California to Arizona, they'll cover you for your airfare. And it may sound good to be true, but honestly, it is true. So this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So take advantage of it if you can, and especially if you are eligible. And so another benefit is that they host guidance from like current admissions teams, and they tell you what they like to see in admissions, again, from the different specialties that provide from medicine, dentistry, optometry, physical therapy, and such. They also they'll provide you some like red flags that they see in applicants, the interview format, and how you can stand out in a pool of hundreds, if not thousands of applicants. And you also get to interact with health professionals, again, from like physicians, dentists, physical therapists, nurses, optometrists, and much more. And also you get to interact with people in those interests as well. And it makes it a great opportunity to build up your network, and it proves how SHPEP does really help, because you're interacting with people who decide on like whether these applicants get accepted or not. And you also get to interact with people who already are in these professions as well, so which is really great. And so it really does help, especially I really like is that this program is really designed to address those who are first generation and underrepresented students. As mentioned earlier, the alumni SHPEP, like 65 of those who apply to medical and dentistry schools are accepted, which is really great because overall the health schools are really competitive to get into.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like SHPEP really makes you stand out. So that's a really great opportunity, and you can like apply if you feel like you're eligible and you check the requirements. So really quickly, if I want to go into the requirements, so you have to be a high school graduate or have a graduate of high school equivalence. So for me, I got my GED. So that was for me, that worked out and they accepted it. So as long as you kind of show that you were high school graduate or had a high school equivalence, that works perfectly fine. And you have to be currently enrolled as a freshman or sophomore college year. So that's more likely based on how many credits of unit you have. So it's about like 60. But feel free to apply if you're about like more than 60, about like 70, not much of a difference, because I've heard like so many people applied with 75 because of their AP classes and everything, and they still got in. So definitely don't feel like you can apply because of 10 more credits or anything like that, not large difference. And also SHPEP really doesn't care about like your GPA, not that like it doesn't matter, but don't feel like discouraged if you don't have a high GPA, and you might feel like, oh, I don't have the great GPA, so I cannot apply, because the minimum overall college GPA that they look for is only 2.5 above. So if you feel like you don't have that much of like good GPA due to so many reasons that you might have been experiencing during your life or anything like that, so just explain it into your application. They have a section that like they ask if there is anything left that you want us to know about you. So definitely that will be a part that you can talk about it, about your GPA. But definitely don't feel discouraged about applying when you don't have that perfect GPA, because that's not the only thing they look to. And also one of the most important thing is to be a US citizen or permanent resident or individual that guaranteed by DACA, and they have their status verified by US citizenship and immigration. So that's one of the things that you want to also consider. And also you must not have previously participated in the program. that's sadly possible. So if it was me, I would want to reapply for SHPEP like literally every year because it's a great program, but unfortunately you can only do this program once lifetime. And also one of the things that they also require you to have is that you be identified as racially, ethnically underrepresented in the community, and you have to come from, not have to, they're like more preferred that you come from economically or educationally disadvantaged background, has demonstrated interest in issues affecting underserved population. And also one of the most important thing for SHPEP application is the personal statement and letter of recommendation. So you have to be able to submit a strong letter of rec from one of your colleagues and or one of your teachers, professors, and professors of lab, and also a good personal statement.
Thank you, Sadaf, for sharing that. So I do want to emphasize this point because I've had received this question a couple of times. So unfortunately, if you're not a U.S. citizen or if you're not under DACA, unfortunately, you cannot be applied. I know it really sucks, but that's the way it is since this program is funded by the U.S. government and other such organizations. Oh, and I do want to clarify. So say, for example, if we do apply this upcoming cycle and you don't get accepted, you can still apply for the following cycle if you're still eligible. But again, once you participate in the program, that's it. You can only participate in once. But without further ado, I'll talk about the activities that students will participate during SHPEP. So SHPEP provides academic enrichment in the basic sciences and mathematics. So each week, I'm going to speak on my behalf a little bit about when I did SHPEP at Western University. So my program hosted lectures on human anatomy and physiology, and we studied things like the nephrology and cardiovascular system and such. And at the end of every week, I had to take a test. And so I kind of felt like I was a medical student with the amount of information and consistent exams that I had to take, but they were designed to intimidate me or anyone, but they were supposed to give insight of what it's like to be a student in the profession. So as Sadaf mentioned earlier, she didn't really know much about dentistry, so she used this as an opportunity to learn about dentistry. And even though right now she wants to be a dermatologist, just even finding out what you like and you don't like, it's really important, especially before going into these career paths. But nevertheless, so some sites focus on organic chemistry, biology, physics, and mathematics, but regardless, you will receive a lot of education. So each site varies in what kind of education they provide. So I can speak on my behalf on Western University does focus on human anatomy and physiology. SHPEP also offers career development activities. So those activities aim to prepare students for future professional success. They include, but not limited to, resume and curriculum vitae, which stands for CV building. And they also provide like interviewing skills, how to build your personal brand, and job searching strategies. So I got the opportunity to participate in the mock MMI. MMI, for those who don't know, stands for multiple mini interviews. So I got to do this with medical students, and essentially MMI is that you get like a completely random question, and they kind of see like how you're able to formulate an answer within a certain amount of time. Like for example, like one question that I got that completely threw me off guard was, oh, what kind of vegetable would you be and why? And that completely threw me off. I was like, wait, what does this have to do about my application? Shouldn't you be asking me, oh, why don't you want to be a doctor? But the MMI really just is there to just show you like, or really putting you to test how you're able to think of an answer within a certain amount of time, which is really critical, especially in the health professions. So, and then what I liked is that the medical students, when we were doing this MMI, is that they give you like valuable feedback. And I was glad to, since like the majority of medical schools are shifting towards the MMI system. And I'm sure like a lot of you are interested in medicine, but I'm sure like some of you are also interested in other fields as well. But it's important to know like which institutions and what specialties, what their interview system is like. But aside from that, SHPEP offers like learning and study skills workshops. So these workshops help students improve their study habits and learning techniques. And topics covered may include like time management, how to take notes effectively, how to read and how to read more effectively, and also especially if not, because it's not a surprise that tests are really common in health professions. So they help you prepare like how to prepare for a test, since you will receive a lot of those, especially in medicine and dentistry and all sorts of health professional careers. And these skills are crucial for academic success and can be applied throughout one's educational journey during and after college. And you also get like exposure to clinical settings. So exposure is crucial for those pursuing careers in healthcare because it's important to have an idea of what career interest is like before getting there. So this experience can involve shadowing healthcare professionals or even participating in supervised clinical rotations. It allows students to apply their knowledge in real-world situations and gain a better understanding of the day-to-day responsibilities in healthcare settings. And you also get to participate in workshops in financial planning and health policy. So these workshops equip students with like essential knowledge about financial management and health policy issues. So there are also like financial planning workshops which may cover topics like budgeting, savings, and how to understand student loans. It's important because health education, as you guys may not already know, it's not very cheap. If it's it's very expensive. So it's important to become well-rounded about scholarships, savings, loans, and practicing these skills. And also like they provide workshops on like on healthcare policy, and you get to explore these regulations and how they shape healthcare and their implications for healthcare professionals. And last but not least, the SHPEP also offers interprofessional education that addresses effective collaboration across health professions. So they encourage students from like various healthcare professions to work together as a team. It also promotes effective communication and collaboration, which are critical in delivering high quality patient care. And participants learn to like, respect and understand the roles and expertise of different types of health professions, which is important to improving patient outcomes. And each week, I'm gonna speak from my behalf from Western University. Aside from like the human anatomy, physiology, and clinical studies, we had a weekly lecture dedicated to healthcare disparities, which is really nice because being a healthcare provider is more than just knowing about the applied sciences, but also knowing how your community is underserved and how you're going to serve it as well. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like definitely, it varies from side to side, but the whole picture is same. They would definitely provide you with a good package that prepare you for medical schools or professional school. So thanks, Mel, for sharing that. I'm just gonna go over really quickly over required application material. So as we said, you have to have one official transcript from every US tertiary or Canadian post-secondary institution attended. So definitely get it from the register office and make sure you provide that letter in your application. And if you are a freshman, then you haven't like got any semester grades or anything like that, make sure that you finalize your application after you submit your transcript, because that's also one of the things they look for. And also one of the letter of recommendation from any pre-health advisor or college professor and anyone that has been in your major will be recommended, but it shouldn't be also someone who's related to your major. It can be someone that knows you well and have been working for you or working with you for a long time and know how to talk behalf of you. So that's one thing that I would recommend, that make sure that you asking someone who knows you well and knows how to write a good letter of recommendation, because that's one of the major part of your application. And it definitely don't need to be someone who's again like same major or same background. And the application is marked complete only after all of the required application process and materials have been processed by the NPO and everything's done. So if you are missing something, your transcript or the letter of official transcript from US or US tertiary, it will not be submitted and you cannot process your application completely. And is there anything else that you want to add, Manuel? Or yeah, that's what I'm thinking about the required application material so far.
Yeah, so with regard to the transcript, oh yeah, I do want to add something. So say for example, for me, during my time in high school, I did do community college classes because my high school did offer like a dual enrollment program. So while I was attending high school, I was also doing college classes at the same time. So even though if those classes appear on the UCR transcript, you have to send a transcript from UCR to SHPEP, but also you have to send your transcript from the community college to SHPEP as well. It may seem a little annoying, but that's what they want to see.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just gonna pass it to Manuel for the next slide.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Sadaf. And so yeah, I'll be going over the SHPEP application and timeline. So the application did open up at the beginning of November, which was like about 15 days ago since it opened up November 1st. And it will close on February 5th, which is like about 82 days from now. So all the materials, which is one, your application, your transcript, and your letter of recommendation, they must be postmarked or timestamped no later than February 5th. And all decisions will be released on March 15th. And then once you do send that application and you do find out that, oh, if you get accepted or not, you will only have about 2 days to decide if you want to you'll see like if you got accepted or not. If you do get accepted, you have 2 days to decide if you're going to participate in that site or not. If not, then they're going to give it to someone else on the wait list. And that's, yeah, on to the next slide.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree on that. And so we're 15 days in, so y'all are not late. So I'm proud of everyone who is attending this meeting. That's really great. So definitely start off early and try to submit your application as soon as possible when you feel you're ready and you completed everything. So that's one thing that I would make sure that you guys know. So apply early, that's the most important part. And also SHPEP personal statement. So whenever someone asks me about any recommendation for SHPEP, I would always tell them that your personal statement gonna be the major role in your application. Because they want to know you and what's unique about you. And that's what like makes you stand out. So definitely bring on your story and kind of relate everything together from your side of perspective and kind of say everything together and try to show, not tell. That's one thing that we always hear. So try to just show your story, how it connects. Ask yourself questions. So like how your personal background, interests, and experiences kind of made you to come up with your decision to pursue a career in healthcare. Like talk about how even some obstacles were in front of you, but your goals always have been bigger than your obstacles. So that's one thing that always SHPEP wants to see. They want to see how unique you are and how was your story and how you are in the place you are today. So definitely take your time with your personal statement and try to send it out to as many people you can, the people who know you, to see if you're missing any part of it and they're like, oh, like why you're not talking about this? I feel like you stand out that much really well in that part of your story. So definitely send it to as much as people you can. And also talk about your backgrounds, interests, and try to relate your story together. And again, try to show, not tell. And like one thing that I always like say is like to put a paper in front of you and just say the turning points in your life and write that down and see how you can connect all of them together. And then start your personal statement. And yeah, try your best and send it to all of the people you know. Send it as much as possible you can. Like I remember I sent mine to 12 people and I was like, okay, just let me know like how I can change it, how I can improve it. So definitely the personal statement is the biggest role, and try to make it as perfect as possible and as relatable as possible to yourself.
Thank you, Sadaf, for sharing about the personal statement. And yeah, the personal statement, it gives you the opportunity to talk about you. It can be talking about, you can talk about, it gives you an opportunity to showcase yourself, because I know, as I mentioned earlier, like the minimum requirement to apply is a 2.5, but even if you have like a 2.7, 2.8 or around that range, don't be discouraged, because what I like about this program is that they look at you holistically, because at the end of the day, GPA and stats aren't always everything, because they also want to see what you've been through. Were you ever homeless? Did you ever go through a troubling situation, a certain obstacle that might have prevented you from getting like a 4.0, and seeing how you overcome it? They really like to see that as well, because life does happen. So don't think like, oh, because I don't have a 4.0, they're not going to accept me. No, there's obviously more to the story than just grades. So I'll be talking about the SHPEP application tips. So here's some tips that I want to share with you all. For one, apply early. So thank you for those who are joining with us. If you're really interested in this, I would start applying right now. So designated program sites automatically receive applications once they are completed and once you submit them, right? So even though they do not send out decisions on a rolling basis, but they can see it as soon as you submit it. So it's important to note that SHPEP is a competitive, very competitive program, because a lot of people are applying across the United States. So just applying to this gives you an idea of what it's like to apply for like health profession schools. And I also highly recommend, as like Sadaf mentioned, is like having other sets of eyes looking over your essay responses and personal statements. I remember when I first wrote mine, I was like, oh, it sounds good, but I decided to ask like a couple people from like the Pathways program, and having like my own mentor be like, oh, can you look over my personal statement? And I'm glad I did, because they gave me a lot of feedback, and I didn't notice I did have some like grammatical errors. So definitely having a different set of eyes looking at those essays and personal statements is really good, because you might hear some feedback that you either did or did not expect. So when I was doing this, I spent my entire winter break, which is coming up very soon, perfecting my application, and I submitted during winter break because I know sometimes it could be a little hard applying through during the academic year, especially if you're involved in research, you're taking classes, and you have all these other opportunities, other responsibilities. So once you're in break and you're really interested, I really highly encourage you to take advantage of that time to apply for the program. And so please do not work on it the night. I do encourage you to not work on it the night before. I've known people that have done this before. I've had even friends that I know who like worked on the application the night before and they unfortunately didn't get in. So it shows that the admissions council for SHPEP do carefully review your applications and do care about who they admit. So, and another thing is that I want to remind you is to always remind your letter writer. You would definitely want to start thinking about who you want to write your letter. So I would ask as soon as possible. So if you're taking like chemistry, if you're taking biology, if you're taking some sort of STEM class, and I would encourage you guys to start going to office hours, start to build those connections and mention that you're interested in medicine and you want to use this program as an opportunity to get your foot in the door. Because when asking your letter writer, it's always courteous to ask them as soon as possible. You don't want to ask them like the week before it's due because that's not really respectful. So you definitely want to ask as soon as possible. But you know, things happen because we understand that professors and all these people are they have their own lives and they're very busy. So you definitely want to keep keeping communication with them, asking them like, oh, hey, how's the letter going? Is there something else I can help? Do you need my personal statement? Or do you want me to interview you so you can maybe give me a little more? Just making sure you're assisting them with the letter writing process too. And so I strongly urge you to start thinking about who can write your letter. So I would prefer it is preferred a science professor or a health advisor. And again, just try asking as soon as possible out of courtesy and respect. And I also recommend asking like an overall. I think it's preferred to be. I think the good rule of thumb is usually like asking like a month in advance, if not more. And so they will need to like submit their letter by email to the email address shpepletters@aamc.org. And also, do not forward your transcripts. All the transcripts must be issued to SHPEP and must be sent directly from the post-secondary institutions that you have attended to in order to be processed. So again, as I mentioned, so you would send in your UCR transcript, but if you are like a transfer student or if you did like dual enrollment during high school, you will have to go to that community college or just go on the website and have to separately send a different transcript from that college as well with your applications. But yeah, so it's also a good idea to check your application status online. It can take 10 to business days to process materials once they have been received. So do not freak out if it says not received. So for example, when I had someone from the Pathways office write my letter recommendation, and they told me that they submitted it, but on my end it said it wasn't received. And I was concerned. I was like, "Are you sure you submitted it?" But it just takes a couple of days, usually around 10 business days for the website to receive it and process it as well. That's it.
Yeah, thanks, Manuel. I definitely had the same issue. So my transcript and letter of rec also like transcript was also saying that it didn't like received or anything like that. But definitely it's a process of like getting like them to receive it and everything. So definitely don't feel intimidated if you see something hasn't got processed. But that also is a good indication that you have to start early. So you will make sure that you get everything done on time. So definitely like try to start somehow this week or closer just your application, just your name or general like info, and like really dive into it and like write down your personal statement and everything during like winter break. That's a good time and everything. So and also refer us as your ambassadors. So in your SHPEP applications, there is gonna be some section for referral, and you can say who were your SHPEP ambassadors, and y'all can say us, so they will see that you guys were contact from us. So that's really a good opportunity as well. And then next slide, I'm just gonna pass it to Manuel for wrapping up.
Yeah, thank you, Sadaf. So yeah, please, if you do end up deciding to apply, please refer us as ambassadors. Please put our name, Manuel Cruz and Sadaf Sadighian. Did I say that correctly, Sadaf, your last name?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, thanks. Please put our names. It shows that we're doing a good job and hopefully they'll keep us as ambassadors as well. So now we'll leave the floor open to any questions. So feel free to put the questions in the chat, or if you want to mute, we're open to it and we will be happy to address it. And these questions could be about our experiences or they can be about the application themselves. So we'll leave the floor open right now.
And this was great. Thanks to both of you. I think you provided really fantastic information about SHPEP and the variety of programs. So it'll be really cool to see what questions come up. Yes, this recording will be available. We'll likely have it on the HPAC YouTube channel within the next week or so. So we will have it available for everybody. We can also send the video out to everybody who attended or registered to attend tonight's session.
Okay, so we did get a question. So someone asked, how many hours per day did you put into the program? Do you mean like how many hours a day did I put into applying or actually being in the program? Oh, being in the program. So so honestly, I would say it's honestly a full-time job. So if you do apply to SHPEP and do get in and do anticipate, I would strongly encourage you to not work because it's essentially going to take up most of the time. So it's essentially a full-time job. So you don't want to be doing summer school. And if anything, they don't allow you to take summer school as well. So I would say essentially you can be with the program around like 30 to 40 hours a week. No problem, Joseph.
Yes, definitely. Just saying that, I would say for me was we would usually wake up in the morning, and then we'll have it till like afternoon, like about 3, 4, 5, and then the rest of the evening was like how many, like it was on us, like how much we want to expend it, explore the area, go have a dinner. So it really and usually we were off weekends, and they would usually like put off some like activities and stuff that's out of like medical or pre-health track that you can explore. So it's not like really intense in a bad way, but it definitely is really manageable if you're asking on that perspective. And I see a question that asks, do we only give transcript from our college courses? Is it only for letter of recommendation, or can we give multiple?
So you would send, if you guys are currently UCR students, definitely send a transcript from UCR. And once again, if you did do any, if you were a transfer student or if you did do only classes prior to college, prior to UCR, you have to send a transcript as well. And it's only one letter of recommendation.
Yes, definitely. I do agree. I
Okay.
also, yeah, sorry, I got a direct message of question about what if you're not part of disadvantaged background racially or economically? Is there a chance you can still be accepted? So definitely SHPEP more focus on disadvantaged background racially or economically. But if you feel like you are a good candidate and you meet all the requirements and there might be one requirement that you're lacking, I definitely encourage you to apply. Like there is no like thing that since you're not a disadvantaged background racially or economically, there is no chance of you getting in. There is still a chance of you getting. I know one of my like a student colleagues at UCLA SHPEP didn't have much of like disadvantaged background, but she had a really unique story, and that was what brought her in. So she was an immigrant, so that definitely counts as well. So it really depends on how is your story and like how you can relate it. But definitely disadvantaged background and kind of being from minorities are prioritized over in our applications. I don't know if Manuel, you want to add, or feel free to just like correct me if I was wrong.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, I think you wrapped that up pretty well. So SHPEP does focus on those who are underrepresented, but they also accept people who don't come from that background. So, but that is the main focus. So even if you don't come from an underrepresented background, you're still welcome to apply. So on to another question. When do we receive admissions? Does each institution have their own admissions rate? Okay. Admissions, Sadaf, do you exactly remember when they send out admissions? I believe it's March, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Do you
March.
need to go back just in case?
Yeah, I think it's March 15th, so around March 15th, and each institution, if they have their own admissions rates. So I will say that if you apply to like your local and home schools, you do have a little bit more advantages because if you apply to your local schools, they do tend to prioritize those. So for example, if you try to apply, like for example, the one in Columbia or Howard, the ones that are across the United States, you do have like a little bit of a disadvantage, but don't let that discourage you from not applying. But so, for example, for those who are UCR and are in California, I do strongly encourage you to apply to Western University and the UCLA one, because since those are our home schools, and you have a better chance of getting accepted into those.
Yeah, definitely. I also agree, but definitely all the SHPEP sites provide dorm and also housing, so you don't have to be worried about that. And it's also paid for you, so you don't have to pay for the dorm or the like housing, and also they pay for your food. Like I know at UCLA site we had cards for cafeteria for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So that definitely is really good, and you also get 1,000 stipend that you can spend on during your time at like the program. So definitely it's provided, and if you need to travel or go to somewhere, they would definitely also pay for your way of going there. So if you have to fly to there, they will pay your flight, or if you have to go with your own car, they also provide mileage, so they would pay you based on the mileage you put into via UCLA or like let's say Western. And also I just checked, the decision will be released on March 15th.
Thank you for confirming that, Sadaf. So on to our next question. So if a person that is more likely to write a better letter of recommendation other than a science professor or health advisor, should I ask them or stick to those two options like a TA or health professions? Yeah, so it is preferred that you have someone in college write your essay. Not your essay, but your letter recommendation. So if you can have one from like a science professor, that's really great. For me, I did not have a science professor write my letter recommendation. I had technically a health advisor, someone who works at the pathways office. So just as long as you can get a letter from one of those two, that'd be really great. And
Yeah,
then I've also known people that got in like letter of recommendation from like a TA. And then I think you said health professional, as in like you mean like a doctor, like a DO or MD, or what do you mean by health professional?
like if you shadowed someone, that also counts, and they know you, you can also get it if you mean by healthcare professional.
Oh yes, I believe a doctor can write it too, but if I think it'd be easier if you can just stick with the science professor and health advisor, since that's what they would prefer. But if you can get it from a doctor, that's great too.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add on, I also didn't got it from somehow like related professor or anything like that. I immigrated to United States overall like 3 years ago. So when I was in community college, I had no connection with any professors or anything like that. And it was my second year. So like my first year just finished going to sophomore. So I asked my STEM advisor who knew me from the day one, and we talked together, and she knew me the best, and I know she's reliable, and I knew she would submit it like right on time. So that was like I knew she's like the right person for me. So I asked her, and definitely like her letter of rec really stand out as well. So I feel like most likely focusing on like who you would give how many, like is he like a doctor or anything like that, more focus on the person who knows you well, because when they know you well, they can write a good letter for you. So that's the most important part that I would say consider in requesting your letter of recommendation.
Sadaf, did you answer the question if you choose a program nearby, would you commute to the site every day? Did you answer that question or no?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So on to the next question. Can we get admitted into all three? Then we would choose. Okay, so you can apply to three again completely for free. That's the maximum that you can apply. So I would use all three. I know people that only apply to one, but I would try to take advantage of it to apply to use all three options. So if you out of those three, depending on which one you get selected, you can pick one to attend to. And also, I would say look into each side because the schedule for each side does vary. So I remember when I was applying, I was kind of interested in attending the one in Texas, but the one in Texas started when it was like week 8 of when I was in the spring quarter, so it would have not worked for me. So definitely look at each side and seeing when their start and end dates for it, and making sure that it aligns with your own schedule as well. And someone has a follow-up question. Does that mean they would tailor to students that attend that school already for, like, for example, UCLA undergrad students for their site? Do you want to answer that, Sadaf?
Yes, unfortunately, the answer is no. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but I know one of my friends was a UCLA undergrad and she applied at the same time with me. I was a community college student and we were both like kind of considered immigrant, but she didn't got into UCLA site and she was a UCLA undergrad. And so I don't think the admission really cares about the fact that they're their own UCLA undergraduate. So it really depends more on like your personal statement and everything. But if you're asking if the undergraduate of like that site will get prioritized, the answer is no. Because they do look for individually, and it's not like if you are a UCLA undergraduate, you will get prioritized over other students. It's more like based on like your personal statement, your story and everything. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, just to add on quickly. So when I applied, the schools that I applied to, aside from Western University, I applied to, Western University, I applied to the one in Washington, and I also applied to the one in Columbia. I didn't get accepted to the one in Columbia, but I did get accepted to the Washington one. But I decided to stay here in Western University because I do like my community so much, and I do like, I do like San Bernardino Riverside kind of, so I decided to stay here anyway. But for those who, for example, if you are attending like UCLA, you do apply to like UCLA SHPEP. I've heard most people that attend schools that offer SHPEP, they try to go outside of the school because they kind of want to explore and see outside of their own schools as well.
I'll just say if I can, one of the really cool things about this opportunity with SHPEP is if you are someone who is looking to be adventurous during the summer, this is a great way to be able to explore another college campus or another city or even state at somebody else's cost. So, your experience would be picked up by that school. So if you're looking to be, I think we said earlier that there's like 12 sites, is that right? Something like that. So if you're looking to be on the East Coast or you're looking to be in the South, you have opportunities to adventure and somebody else is paying for that for you. So just something to consider as you're looking at the various sites. You might want to be local, or you might say, I want to visit Columbia. I don't know anything about New York City, but I would really like to. This could be the opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Charlie. For sure, I've seen people who like, oh yeah, they want to go out of their state, go out of their school, just kind of explore. So if you, aside from being pursuing these looking to these career paths, it's also a great opportunity for you to explore outside of the U.S. And again, at someone's cost because it is completely free. And we did get a question in the chat. Could we get a snippet of your guys' personal statement to get an idea? Okay, I can answer this for a bit. So for me, I talked in my personal statement, I mentioned that I do come from like a family of immigrants. So my parents were born in Mexico and they immigrated to the United States a little bit before I was born. And then throughout the process, I've noticed that like my parents never attended healthcare professionals, attended like healthcare centers because they're undocumented. So as an undocumented, they do face like a lot of disparities because essentially to the US, they don't exist. But I noticed since I had the privilege of being born in this country, I was able to get the health attention that I needed. But I noticed that anytime they got injured, they never got attended. So I always asked, like, why don't you guys go to the doctor if you aren't sick? And they revealed to me like, oh, well, we can't because we don't have papers. So for me, that kind of like inspired me to, serve these underserved communities because, I do want to become a physician. I mentioned at the beginning, I do want to specialize in emergency medicine because with emergency medicine, you do get to interact with like a lot of underserved populations. So one's particularly is the undocumented population. So that I mentioned that a lot in my personal statement. And I also mentioned too about the hardships I went. So I did mention like during like at the end of my second year, I was going through like a really tough time and my GPA did kind of tank. But I mentioned that regardless of these challenges, that never changed my perspective of medicine and that I wanted to pursue my dreams no matter what I went through. So yeah, just also showcasing like the adversity in these obstacles you went through, but also showcasing like how did you go about it and the attitude that you exhibited at the moment too. They like to see that as well. And Sadaf, would you like to add on?
Yeah, of course, I can also talk about behalf of my personal statement. So I do remember when I first like kind of wrote a draft of my personal statement and I wrote it the day after. I was like, this is not interesting. So I started off with the sentence that I was like, I always wanted to become a doctor and like a dentist or something. And I was like hearing myself and I was like, this is a lie. Like I didn't want it to become a doctor when I was like 5 years old. So I literally starting off like from the beginning, I crossed out everything and I started talking about how like my times reflected. So I immigrated, as I mentioned before, 2 years ago from Iran to United States. And I talked about that and how immigration kind of affected me. So like my dad is still there and my mom goes back and forth. So it was really difficult for me to, as a teenager, to get like kind of separated from my parents and become independent. So I talked about that and how it reflected me and how I wanted that to be worth something and get something out of that experience. So I talked about that and how I initiated the interest of healthcare in myself, how like little things and like examples, like how like my project that I did in high school kind of initiated that interest of like applying for biology major and stuff like that. So just like like kind of putting the pieces together for myself and seeing how I had that interest and kind of continued with that was part of my biggest part of my personal statement. I also mentioned that one thing that really that makes your personal statement stand out is starting your personal statement with a hook that grabs readers' attention, that like the readers be like, oh, I want to learn more about that person. I want to know the rest of their story and I want to know how they were able to stand out. So that's one thing that I would recommend. Try to be yourself. Do not follow any trend or anything that you've heard before and you feel, oh, I might just need to add that to my personal statement. So I think you should know that you're enough and you're well unique and your experiences make you unique. So just like mention those and be creative and just mention all the things and I'll put everything together and try to make that your personal statement really stand out. And I do saw a question on the chat about personal statement. So we do shared our, sorry, just a second. So we do our me and Manuel both shared our emails here. So feel free to send us your personal statements if you want us to. I mean, I feel comfortable to read through it and let y'all know if you need any feedbacks, if you need any feedback or anything like that. Feel free to send it out. I would definitely be happy to help y'all see where the areas you might need to improve or anything. So feel free to email us and ask us your questions. I would definitely be welcome to answer everyone's question and read through your personal statement.
Definitely for mentioning that stuff. So I'm also happy to look over these personal statements as well and give some valuable feedback. And again, Sadaf, I'm sorry, HPAC is also a really good resource. So you can check in with them. You can talk to Charlie. And I'm sure he and his team will also be happy to look over these personal statements as well. So we're here with open arms.
Yes, definitely utilize HPAC resources and like it's amazing that we are here like able to use these resources. So make sure that you guys utilize these resources and try to make yourself a standout in applications.
This has been really, really great. And I think Manuel and Sadaf, you shared really fantastic information. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with our attendees. To everybody, thank you again for attending. And please make sure that you thank Manuel and Sadaf for their time this evening. Again, we will send this presentation out to those who registered in the next week or so. And then we'll also add it to the YouTube channel for the Health Professions Advising Center. So again, Manuel and Sadaf, thank you for this experience. We find that students really learn from students. And so thank you for sharing about your summer experience with SHPEP over the summer of 2023.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you everyone for joining and thank you for taking time.
It was our pleasure. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. And best wishes on final exams and happy holidays, everybody.